Hi guys, Neff here, and today we're looking at the Zeiss Ikon WSW interior version. And with that being, sorry about the camera there, with that being called the interior version, it means that it has 5 sliders up inside of it on the left side. The exterior version would also have 2 more over on the right that operates a completely separate sidebar. So we have 6 pins on the top, 5 sliders on the side, and then on the one that I do not have, it would have 2 more sliders on this side. Mine would be considered the easier version, although it still does sit on the black belt list. So we're going to give it a shot today, see if I can get it picked. I'll quickly talk about the tools I use in it. I use 2 Z-bars for it, and you'll see why 2 in a moment. I do not use them at the same time. For the top pin stack, just a standard hook, one that I laser cut, but I guess it would be called a medium hook. And then we've got these basically dimple flags made out of, these 2 are made out of wiper insert. This is made out of a steak knife from the dollar store. The one I've found that I use almost exclusively is this one out of this medium wiper insert, mostly because it is so thin it can get under the slider without even moving it and setting it. So let's go ahead and get started here, and as I'm going here, I'll talk a little bit about my strategy with it. So the top pin stack, oh, you know what, you guys should see it work with the key real quick, because I love the key for this. Sorry about that camera again. Here's the key, pretty cool. I love these interesting keys. Very, very cool. Alright, so on these, the top pin stack is actually pretty easy. Let me get this zoomed in a little bit for us. Top pin stack's pretty easy. It has a few spools and some standard drivers. The interesting things about it are that instead of coming through as a full-size pin, the tips are machined down and the pins are very, very small at the tip. Sorry, I'm concentrating on the front pin right now. There we go. They're machined down into a very, very small tip, and makes them, you gotta be a little bit precise with how you do it. But I'm about to do some counter rotation, you might see it. Hold on, there we go. Position a little bit better. That was 3. 4 might do it, might not. 4 does have a spool, but 2, 3, and 4 usually have spools. But because of the way my lifts work, I have a max lift, mid lift, max lift, low lift, max lift, low lift. So I have max, low, max, low, max, low, max, low. So some of my spools don't require a whole lot of effort, or I should say at least one of my spools doesn't require a lot of effort. That was pin 5. I went into quite a false set there, so either I'm good to go, or I have one more spool that needs to be set. And that's why I'm just taking a look at number 4 here. Two, 3, and 4 usually have spools in these. And let's make sure my front pin is set, and it is. And I think we are in our false set, ready to work on these sliders. Alright, so at this point, this is where Z-bar number 2 comes in. There's a couple different ways people like to do it. I actually put mine in to where it notches in between. There's a little piece of warding on the left and that bit of warding on the right, and it kind of notches in between those two and turns completely sideways there. There we go. Now let's get my medium wiper insert. I've actually had this since before I started picking. See how it's pretty beat up. I used it to make an actual lockpick because I was waiting in the mail for them, and of course it worked like crap, but it got me by for a couple days while I was waiting for my first picks. Shaved down the top of it a little bit and thinned it out and gave me a dimple flag. So on this one, if I start from the front, I end up ping-ponging the sliders up and down, where some will drop and I have to keep resetting them. But it seems if I start from the back, I have a little bit easier time. The big issue is it takes a lot of pressure to set them. Sometimes it will turn the core back if I'm not really focused, and that turning the core back will drop some of the top pins. So. Two, three, four. There it went. 5 is a very high lift slider in here, so I have a tough time with it. Alright, now we position and check it for jiggle. It's called a jiggle test, but I'm really checking, to me it's checking for spring tension to make sure it's not in a gate, or in a false gate. Come on, my positioning is not great right now. There we go. I believe 5 is good. Plus I thought I felt some core movement there, so. Now I can work my way to the front, or I could start trying from the front and working my way back. I'm going to try from the front. 1 just jumped right into its gate. 2 is hopefully not overset. I cannot tell. There it went. 2 is in its gate now. Now 3 and 4 are the weird ones. So you would have slider 1, and then you can kind of jump over it and feel a space, and then you're at slider 2. Jump over it, feel a space at slider 3. Well, when you get to 3 and 4, the way they have the notches on those sliders is they actually butt up against each other. So you have to watch your placement to make sure you're not lifting both at the same time. And that took me a minute to really figure out. But as of right now, I haven't checked 5 to see if it fell or anything, but 3 and 4 are all we got. Now I just heard something fall when I did 3, so hopefully it's something up front. And I see 1 did fall. We got it back in its gate. 2 fell as well, which is okay. I don't mind these falling as long as 5 stays where it's supposed to be. I may have just overset 2, or may have just overset 1, and I did, so we'll try and release it. Alright, so I released 1. I'm going to go back, check 5, see if it's screwed or not. Well, it's still lifted, I believe. No, it's not. So it's hard when you don't have 3 or 4 done. If your post is too big, mine might be a little bit because my post seems to get hung up on either 3 or 4. Alright, I think 5 is back to good. We'll try and slow this down a little bit, 'cause sometimes I get really anxious being on camera. One is in its gate. Working on 2. 2 is now in its gate. Gonna start trying to do 3 here without messing 4 up. Actually, I can do 3 and 4 at the same time as I do 3 because my 4 sits higher than 3, but still I try to just do 1 at a time. Three is in a gate, but I did drop some stuff. That was 1. Okay, got 1 back in its gate. 2 back in its gate. 3, I believe, is in its gate. 5 may have fallen, I'm not sure. Now here I need to get 4 without, and I just dropped some stuff by getting under 4. That's something I do, but hopefully that still allows us to get it taken care of. I'm unable to lift it further, so I'll have to release some tension. I'm just checking 5 real quick, and actually 5 stayed in its gate, so probably should have just worked my way backwards from 5, but okay. So, ooh, crap. I was just about to say I got 4 in a gate. Let's see where we're at. 5 is good. 4 is maybe good. I think 4 is good. 3 is not. 3. I lifted it, but I can't tell if I got it far enough. I don't believe it's in a gate, but it's just 1 little gate away, so. Okay. Alright. Yeah, we got her. Alright. 2, I believe, is still in its gate, so I think 1 is our decider here. But something just dropped, of course, so I ping-ponged something down when I popped 1. Oh, please don't tell me I just overset 1. I'm actually trying to reach in and pull 1 down so that I don't have to release tension. And yeah, I was able to pull it kind of down into its gate. So 1 is in its gate. Now we'll see what I dropped. I still haven't figured out how to get the tension correct to where, because there's got to be a way to do the tension better to where you're not making it ping pong so easily. Alright, 1 and 2, good to go. 1, 2, wait, yeah. Now 2 is good to go. And this slider, lifter, or flag, or whatever you want to call it, that I made is actually small enough to get, once the slider's lifted, there's, the hole in there. I can actually get in there with it, and it honestly makes it a little bit easier to feel, to do the jiggle test to see if it's in a gate yet. Alright, gate 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so this is what happened to me last time. Everything feels like it's in a gate, yep, and then you just have to nudge on it, and then you are picked. Hell yes. Couldn't be more excited. I've only been picking 2.5 months, so this is like just such a big deal to me. So as I said before, the key pins are machined down smaller, and just that little nipple is what protrudes into the lock to be picked, even though they seem to be pretty standard diameters. And as you can see, 2, 3, and 4 are spools. We got standard drivers, of course, in 1, 5, and 6. Then our sliders look like this. Each one has your true gate, and then all these little notches are your false gates, of course. And the only part that is in the lock itself is that little notch that comes out on the bottom there. So that is what you are actually picking. And then on 3 and 4, let's see if I can put them in very quickly. So that's 3. I don't have a spring on it, so I don't know if it'll show what I'm trying to show you, but here we go. So 3 and 4, if you look at them when they are both in there, you can see the notch is on that side and on that side, and they are very, very close to being on top of each other. And let's put one more in. So this is going to be number 5. And you'll see that number 5 will obviously sit a lot further away. And 2 and 1, I believe sit, yeah, 2 and 1 both sit over from our angle right now on the right side. So we have far right, far left, far right, and that's what puts these right by each other, and that one's far left. So that just makes picking 3 and 4 a little bit harder. It was kind of an interesting little extra design function that I thought was small but effective, actually. So here's our sidebar and our sidebar springs. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was close. Here's our sidebar. There we go. Pretty standard. Alrighty guys, well, looks like I saved all the key pins, but mixed my sliders up. I'm sure I can get that figured out, so. If anybody has any questions about this lock, anything I could have done better, and any comments, I'm happy to hear them. If you got any votes for what's going to come up next, here's a couple of the locks I got sitting around. ASA 700, really excited about that. I got the Bilock 12 pin, which is super interesting lock. I've got some more ASA Twin 6Ks sitting around, and I just got an EVA 3KS in, and I have a few other. I have an EVA ICS coming. Excited to check that out. So if you want to see something done, feel free to leave a comment about that too. Thanks guys. I hope y'all have a great night.